everyone, my name is Darren Durda, and I'd like to welcome you to another video log for my upcoming book, The Four Global Truths. In my previous vlog, I spoke about the first global truth, which is the reality of global suffering, as manifest in various crises like global warming and mass extinction and deforestation, large-scale ecological crises that are being driven primarily and materially at least by humans, overpopulation and overconsumption especially. And I wanted to stress how important it is that we not just dismiss these facts and this information as something we've heard before and we're aware of and therefore we can just forget, but that we really allow it to become something that informs our way of being and our way of acting and even our way of thinking in the world. But I also want to say that in order to do this, to really let this information in, is not easy. In fact, it's enormously challenging. But I would like to make the case that it is possible, and I'd like to share with you a prophecy that I first heard from Joanna Macy. Joanna first learned of this prophecy when she was doing some disarmament work in India in about 1980. She learned it from some of her Tibetan friends. It is Tibetan in origin, about 700 or 800 years old, and it's the prophecy of the Shambala warriors. So this prophecy of the Shambala warriors speaks of a time on planet Earth when two great powers will emerge. One will emerge in the Western Hemisphere and another in Eurasia. And these two powers will be busy, very busy making war with one another. They'll be busy making these very, very powerful, very, very dangerous weapons that are capable of leveling, destroying entire cities, killing millions of people all at once. Now, bear in mind that this really wasn't possible 8 centuries ago. It was hardly even conceivable. But this prophecy speaks of such a time. And it speaks also of the emergence of a sort of new form of human being called the Shambala warrior. And the Shambala warriors will not necessarily be organized in the way that an army is organized, but they will fight peacefully to disarm these great nations. And they will use their own weapons of wisdom and compassion to fight this basically this machinery of death and to disarm it. And they'll have a certain confidence they'll be able to do this because they know something very important, which is that these weapons are not made by some evil force or some extraterrestrial entities or something. They're made by human beings and by the human mind. And so therefore they can be unmade by human beings and by the human mind. And that's the prophecy of the Shambala warriors. So if we look around the world today, we can see that this prophecy of the Shambala warriors is essentially coming true. We have on one hand these very powerful nations, including, maybe especially the United States, that have these very powerful weapons of mass destruction stockpiled. And on the other hand, we have greater and greater resistance on the grassroots level to this mentality of war-making and to the assumptions of power and patriarchy. If you're familiar with the work of Paul Hawken, especially in his book Blessed Unrest, he speaks of the millions of organizations all over the world that are dedicated to peacemaking or other forms of positive change, including ecological sustainability, social justice, spiritual fulfillment, issues that are very closely intertwined. And these organizations might not necessarily know of one another, but they're all arising at the same time, spontaneously and very organically, almost like an immune response system for planet Earth. One of these organizations that I like very much is the Awakening the Dreamer Symposium, and they're part of the Pachamama Alliance. I hope you'll take a minute to investigate them online. They do some very important work. But the Awakening the Dreamer Symposium borrows this term from Paul Hawken, Blessed Unrest, and it's meant to describe this feeling that some of us have when we become aware of what's going on planet Earth right now, and instead of running away and turning away from these problems, we feel a calling to engage and to make positive change in the world. The Awakening the Dreamer Symposium uses this term change agent or agent of change, which to me sounds a little bit like Shambhala warrior. So if you're feeling a calling to be an agent of change or feel a resonance with the Shambhala warrior prophecy, or maybe you're just beginning to feel this blessed unrest, I hope you will continue to stay tuned to these vlogs, maybe share them with your friends so that we can continue building this very important movement. And I hope you have a great day.